Hey guys, welcome back to Cultivation with Christy. I'm Christy. It is blazing hot outside. I already went out this morning. You may or may not have seen. Again, I don't know what order I'm posting these videos in, but I have fertilized, I harvested onions, I weeded a little bit, harvested cucamelons, making pickles, fridge pickles with that. I've got a lot of noodle beans that I'm going to blanch and freeze, but I also have been still working away at the sourdough starter breads, and I have one figured out that So the recipe I'm going to be using is actually from Whispering Willow Farm. She's over on YouTube. She has a lot of great sourdough information over there. I don't know if she's changed the recipe since, because this is an older video that I got it from about 2 years ago. It's pretty simple to follow, so I hope you guys will like it. So for sourdough, you only need a couple of things. You need, for this recipe, an active sourdough starter, which you can see it's all bubbly and ready to go. I did about 1 to 1 to 1, about 60 grams each. So 60 grams flour, 60 grams water, and 60 grams starter. You also need, which you can see I've already made a mess, a cheap kitchen scale, preferably that weighs in grams. This one weighs in a couple of different units, which is helpful when I harvest tomatoes and I'm curious of the pounds of tomatoes. You're also going to need a large bowl. This one is actually, I think it's no, it might be Target brand. Anyway, I found it at the thrift store, so always get those thrift store finds. Also, you're going to want some honey. Raw is a good option here, but whatever honey you like. I have been recording this whole time. Lord, okay. I got my scale. I got my nice bowl. Got honey, mixer. Okay, I have added 85 grams of fed sourdough starter, and now we're adding about 375 grams of water. So you didn't miss too much. We're almost there. You have to record your kitchen fails, right? So 375 is what we want. Guess it's not a kitchen fail, it's a user error fail. Okay, 380, close enough. Now we're going to add 20 grams of honey. I have zeroed my scale. Here's my nice raw local honey. Was the man who tried to kill at the De Soto Hotel possessed by the same powerful energy as Richard Ramirez? Ignore the TV. Okay, there is 22-ish grams of honey. And then we're going to mix this together with my fancy dough whisk. Okay, I've mixed it all together. I've zeroed out my scale. And then I'm just going to scoop in 500 grams of, this is all-purpose flour. You can use bread flour. That works too. Alright, if you can see that, I've got my 500 grams of flour. Then I'm going to take it off of my scale because I don't want to mess up the scale while I'm mixing this. Actually, you know what? I always forget this part. And it's probably the most important. You want to add about 9 grams of salt. And I'm using a good Redmond's salt. Real salt. And that is about 9 grams. Now we're going to take it off the scale and mix it together. And it's going to come together and be chunky. It's not going to be a smooth dough, and that is fine. Alright, got my hand in there. It's going to be very wet. And that is okay. It's not gonna be a bread dough. It's gonna be a wet, shaggy mess. Now we're gonna let this sit for 8 hours or so. If you wanted to, you could feed your sourdough starter while you were at work. And when it's active, when you get home, you can mix the ingredients here and then let this sit overnight. And once it has doubled in size, it is good to go. So here is for reference, and we're going to come back when it's doubled in size. Another part I always forget, you want to cover your dough with a damp tea towel. So it's not wet, you can't wring it out, but it is wet. If you don't cover it with a damp tea towel, the top of your dough is going to get a little crusty layer on it. I don't like it. So just make sure it's nice and covered, out of the way. I'm probably going to stick it in my oven just so it's out of the way, and I don't plan on cooking anything today. So anyway, we'll be back in about 8 hours. All right, it's 5 o'clock, so it's 7.5 hours later. You can see it's definitely doubled in size, big and bubbly. I left it in the oven for at least half the time with the oven light on, and then shut it off so it didn't get too warm. So now I have my cast iron skillet, and I have this Tuscan infused olive oil. You can use regular olive oil. I'm probably going to use the rest of this. I may not even have enough. And you want to liberally coat this. I do not have enough, so I'm going to use half of the Tuscan herb and half of the regular. And then I'm going to take the pan and just make sure the whole sides are coated, and you'll see that I have quite a bit in there, which is fine. And then we're going to take our focaccia bread dough. You see this lovely air hole. I'm just gonna scoop it out into the pan. We'll make sure it's got the oil all over it, and then we'll take it and try not to stick it to the microwave. Oops. And that's it. So you still got quite a bit of oil in that pan. Now we're just gonna let it sit for 30 minutes to 2 hours. We'll probably let it sit somewhere around an hour. I'm gonna feed the dogs, and then I'm gonna get in the shower, then we'll be back. Okay, there it is. Look how pretty. Alright, we're going to put it in a 425 oven for 20 to 25 minutes. And here it is. We're going to put it on some burgers. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Until next time.